Okay, welcome back to another stream. We're ready to do some more Unreal work here. Busy doing some different, I don't know, research, R&D I guess you could say. Getting ready for the stream. Lots of stuff that we can talk about today, but lots of difficult things to cover as well, so we'll see where exactly we end up traveling on this particular path. But definitely having fun trying to get into this. I just realized the Automod has been concerned about my post here that's saying that I wrote the word facial, which is a sexual comment. I mean, I better just gonna make sure that that's allowed. I don't know what kind of facial they're talking about. Doing facial poses. What are they going on? Hey, Dave's here. Welcome, Dave. So anyway, we're gonna take a look at some facial poses here, and we got lots of good stuff that I was working with. Now, I got a little complicated, and to be quite honest, I'm actually kind of stuck with one of the first most basic things I wanted to start doing. Where I was like, I'm gonna do some Python scripting in Maya so that people can see what I'm doing, how to demonstrate how it works. And then I also made some progress on the Unreal side, so we don't have to do Python scripting in Unreal, which is awesome because I was having, you know, fairly decent success, but at the same time I'm like, I know how disastrous this path can go. So I found a solution where the UI will actually get the face poses that I want here created into a list, so maybe we can get it working with our what is it called? Facial capturing iPad virtual thing. I haven't tried it yet, so, you know, it's possible we're just gonna get stuck. But in the meantime, or not in the meantime, if that all fails, I've got a classic Western town ready to go for my new backdrop, because quite honestly, I kind of like the idea of warm and dry. It's been cold and wet, and I got to change my backdrop anyways, now that we're in March. And so yeah, warm and dry looks pretty good to me. So I want to make this into a nice and cool place. I don't know, I got to figure out some location where we're going to get a nice shot that has a cool backdrop. Try to make sure my lighting can kind of match with it somehow. It's I can always change the lighting too. I was looking through the videos for this scene. This was free in, I think it was January. I was kind of looking at it, thinking about it, and then I moved on. There was some free stuff today, or this month. Don't forget to get your free stuff from Unreal. This month was, there was actually, it's kind of funny, there's a very appropriate office, come on, that I was looking at, and I'm like, well, look, there's an office scene. I should make my backdrop an office scene. But then I'm like, that's so boring. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to have a boring office scene backdrop. I want something cool. Hey, Audrey made it. Welcome. Nice to see you back. And Sarah's here. Welcome. Great to see everybody is showing up here. With the fox working. Yeah, we just do an office space with like a fox just clinging desperately to the window in a high-rise. It'd be hilarious. Anyway, the other ones are pretty cool too. This is advanced vehicle system. Looks kind of fun. I installed it, but I haven't actually looked at it or anything. But it's kind of a neat little freebie that you get this month. It might be kind of cool. I don't know. I'm saying that because I got two boys who are totally gonna dig that. It's funny, my youngest son has been like, or no, my oldest son keeps talking about making video games. He's really excited by the fact that I keep like making games all the time. He really likes games and I'm making them. But then we keep starting them and he's like, what does that say? Because he isn't able to read yet, so everything is like a super challenge. Like, I want to go to characters, and then I have to like help him show what the one the characters is. So he's got a lot of learning to do still before we get there. But anyway, I appreciate his enthusiasm. What do we got here? Oh, Trash Art's here. Heyo, late night rendering. So joining the crew. All right, welcome. Nice to see you there, John. And Sarah, you should have an office with a sloth slowly moving around it. Yep. See, that's great. These are great ideas. This is so many ideas we could do with this office scene. Audrey says it's adorable, probably because of the kid talk. Sarah says, oh yeah, you guys are just talking about my kids. Hey, Louis here. Hey, welcome. Okay, so sorry, apologies for the beginning here where it's going to get really boring and dry. It's not going to be nearly as much fun, but I'll leave the fun stuff to when we run out of things to do here. What I was working on at the moment is I'm trying to get, basically I've got all these names of all the different poses for our facial poses, and I need those in a text list. That's how we're gonna be able to put together some of our posing inside of our Unreal, and I'll get to exactly how that makes sense. No, I'll get to it right now. So we have this animation in Unreal. Hey, it's Lupercio. Man, I don't know how to say that name. Luperco. Sorry for sabotaging your name, but thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Paul says hello. Wow, we got a whole good crowd here. This is excellent. So anyway, we've got this animation that is many frames of poses. I have discovered that if I do it where a pose is every single frame, each frame individually, this automatic system will work way better. So I've got to fix that. And then the other thing is, so the main trick that I learned today, call me TJ. All right, that sounds way better. Thank you for giving me a short form to work with. Paul, is this finally an animation live stream? Yeah, it's sort of, yeah, half of it is going to be live stream. The other half of it is going to be me assembling a backdrop. I don't think it's actually going to be animation though, it's just going to be like rigging. I think it qualifies in the rigging category. But there you go, Paul. Alright, so what I learned today, if you right click on an animation file, you go to create, and there is create pose asset. I had never used that feature before, and so it does exactly what I wanted to do. It will take the animation. Here's where it's asking for a list of pose names. So I would say my pose 01, and then on the next line, my pose 02. And then I hit accept, and it's gonna create a pose list. And here's all the poses. It's basically every single frame of animation is now a pose, which is exactly what I was trying to do the other week. And you can see that the first two lines I wrote in there are actually the poses. So not much happens on the first 5 frames because I did key every single every fifth frame. But this one, no, that one doesn't do anything either. But this one, you can see like stuff is happening. So it's created like blend shapes of every single pose, which I was trying to do through a Python script. I'm like, there it is. That's how they did it in MetaHuman. That's all they did. They didn't have to like write a crazy custom script or anything. They just ran that thing, but they had a list of words. So Victor's here. Hey, welcome. So what I need to do today is basically make a list of all these words, which I was like, just do it manually, put it in a text file. And then I was like, oh wait, I can make a Python script that will do it automatically. And then I went into, this is where the world of Python scripting and balancing wasted life is, it's just, it never works out. You're always wasting life. That's how basically scripting goes. So when you're doing, so like what I wanted to do was like, okay, well, let's see what the script is for bookmarks. This is how you basically start doing anything in Maya. If you wanted to start doing some scripts, they have these little references that you can go to, type in some stuff. All they have is build bookmark menu, and that's just not enough information to actually do anything. It's like it builds a menu with bookmark anim curves. I couldn't even get it to work. I'm like, well, that doesn't help me. How do I get to these bookmarks that I've created, which are kind of a new feature in 2020? It's a little button down here. how do I get to them and start getting all this data? Because each one of these bookmarks has the name of the pose. I just wanted to like go through an array and say, get the name, paste it, get the name, paste it. And then I'd have like this list. I could just copy it, paste it into Unreal, you're ready to go. So I found on a document online that I'm not the only one that was asking about this. They haven't actually put functionality of how to do any of the bookmark work in the documentation yet. So you're kind of on your own. And so, but what they did do, they found this inside of the Python library, inside of your installation folder for Maya. So they knew that you could get to here. So I just imported that line, and then I wrote help T, which posts all, like, it's basically an automated Maya or Python definition of all the functions that you can get inside there. So you can go through and look for stuff that might be useful. And now we're finding lots of good stuff that we can work with. Like, you know, at least so I thought. And like one of them's like get all bookmarks or something. I can't even find it at the moment now. Get all bookmarks. Where is it? Anyways, doesn't matter. It didn't actually do anything. It didn't give me anything that has words in it. Status active. Would having a C++ Unreal Engine degree from CG Spec. Wow. Okay, here we go. CG Spectrum be good for a job portfolio. I want to get into games without going to college. C++ Unreal Engine degree from CG Spectrum, good for a job portfolio. It's definitely a good one if you want to get into a programming job. You have to kind of be prepared that that's kind of the path that you're getting into. The C++ Unreal Engine degree teaches you how to program from like nothing, which is really interesting. And the knowledge that you learn about how to program C++ can be used for anything, like for example this Python and stuff. So C++ just happens to be, in my opinion, like one of the hardest languages to work with. So it's kind of nice to have that mentorship and help in that stage so that you can sort of be put in a direction that is useful and, you know, doesn't is as painless as possible, I would say. Python, I would say, is probably one of the easiest scripting languages to learn, but it is also quite challenging coming from nothing. But all this stuff is really helpful if you're trying to get into blueprints and stuff, because all that programming knowledge comes into play as you're making things in Unreal. So you could say that learning C++ is useful for trying to do your game design and blueprints and stuff, but it doesn't have to come from that direction. We do have a game design course that teaches you the theory of game design, and now we're getting into introducing like a framework Unreal project that you can use to build a game and be more concerned about, like, is the game fun to play than it is about how do you get the game to actually work and get to the point where you're actually able to make a game. So game design is a course, Unreal C++ is a course, and then we also have more on the art side, which is the part that I usually handle, which is more like we're learning about all the different art departments in Unreal through game production, and it can parlay into environment art, VFX art, animation art. There's other ones I'm sure that I'm not defining very well. And we're actually talking about making a technical artist course in the future. So if you wanted to specialize in like virtual production or that type of thing where you're really just focusing on you know, more of the technical aspect, which is a really high in demand career path right now, we're just in the middle of trying to get that course assembled for everybody. Well, for whoever takes the course, I suppose. The next question is, I learned Java for 2 years in high school, and I have been trying to learn C++ for a while, and now I really want to work in programming. All right, so it sounds like the C++ Unreal Engine is a nice way to fast track yourself into the area of C++ that is associated with game development. And And like if you're gonna work in Unity, for example, it's more like C#, but with Unreal it is very much C++ if you get into those C++ type projects. Otherwise it's more like blueprints based, which allows you to do a lot of the programming through Visual Node based programming, which is what I usually do in my streams here. So yeah, I don't know. It depends on what you consider college. You said you want to do this without going to college, but I mean, in theory, this will take 10 months, or I think the programming one is like 4 terms of 12 weeks each. So it'll, it's just a little over a year, I guess, to get through it. But we have some awesome mentors that can really help you get a good sense of what's going on there. So I'm obviously going to be slightly biased being the person in the school, but at the same time, I really like the way that our school teaches. We do the videos first, and then we you have an hour each week to talk to your mentor and help you through the problems that you were trying to learn through in the videos. And I think that's really the future of how to teach. People should be taught anyways, rather than just having the teacher lecture the same thing over and over again. They're there to help you through the problems that you're dealing with at the end. Whew. Okay, feel free to ask questions, guys. I'm not really trying to I don't mind going off course here. All right, so anyway, the get all bookmarks was not giving me anything useful. It was just giving me like the name of the bookmark. I could probably almost get this working here for you. Start this. We're gonna get all bookmarks. Oh, I don't even know. And I think that doesn't necessarily. Yeah, there you go. There's an array of bookmarks, so it just gives you the bookmark name. I still have to like use this name and call the bookmark and capture it and get it from somewhere, which is pretty normal in Maya. Usually you have an object name, so this is my object name. So now I have to like do something with it. Like, I don't know. I couldn't figure it out anyways. I got stuck. So instead what I'm gonna do is just copy it. If I could somehow get it and be able to get this text, I could probably easily write a little script and go boom, 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 write them all out. In the meantime, for the sake of simplicity, we're gonna, actually before I get to this, we have to figure out how to get our timeline to be a lot smaller. So we're gonna do a little bit of tweaking here. And I think that's mostly gonna be about, like it's probably gonna screw up my bookmarks, to be honest. But the whole animation goes from frame 0, almost frame 0 here, all the way to 260 frames. So I'm going to change the length of my timeline. Oh my goodness, I have to remember how to do this. I could just scale it manually. Or should I try to do this? 5 frames a second? Doing some experiments here. Hold on a sec. We went from 24 frames a second to 5 frames a second, which has automatically scaled my animation down to every 5th frame is pretty close. Slightly off, so we're actually going to get a bit of a mix-up as it crosses over. Let's see if we can do 4 frames a second. No, let's go 6. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap it once I figured out a good pattern here. No, I think 5 was the closest. Oh, we'll try snapping it. And that's going to lock all the frames down to their local position. So we got an extra gap here, a gap here. I don't know what the math was wrong there, but somehow that didn't make sense. Just shift that over. That over. Now we're at 52 frames. And as you can see, my bookmarks are, I don't know. Oh, it's also possible that what happened here was I got 2 frames that got flattened on top of each other, which is a lousy problem to have. Let me just undo this for a second here, because I may have done that. That's especially since my bookmarks look pretty accurate. They're all nicely tied up on each frame. Maybe not that one particularly. But we need to get these facial poses to be lined up. Oh look, I didn't grab all the controllers either. Yeah, this is totally not going to work. I'm kind of disappointed I can't find a pattern that works here. I thought for sure it would just be like, oh yeah, that'll just line up nicely, because we went from 1 frame ratio. I guess 24 frames a second down to 5 frames a second doesn't really work out mathematically very well. Well, I'll make it a little too buffered then. Maybe that'll work. Snap that. Well, it looks like everything is pretty much on a different frame range there, where things get boring. But I gotta make sure this works, because otherwise I'm gonna be putting the wrong... if I got 2 frames on top of each other, then that's gonna cause a problem, because they're gonna be labeled wrong. Wow, this is really slow. I gotta do like every single frame here. Every 5th one I get a free one. Should have done a smaller ratio here. I really got to get to the, like, at least something that's entertaining here, because it's like these first frames are all just about eye directions and stuff, which I guess is kind of good. But if I can get them all down to 1 frame, then we can get to doing the next boring job. Now's a good time if anyone has any questions. Okay. This is painful. Didn't expect it to go so slowly. Join late, what are we doing? We are painfully moving all of our keyframes of our poses that we made back a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, putting them to so that they're a single frame per frame each. I unintentionally made the mistake of doing each pose every 5th frame for the facial animation, and when in reality the best way to do it in Unreal is to do it every single frame. That wasn't too bad. I'm just gonna make sure I save it. I want to do that twice. So what we're gonna do is try to get these facial poses that we've done for this character and get them into the game and set up, and maybe even get it working with the facial capturing. So, or at least first pass facial capturing. Let's see, we got face poses. Check that out. I can save it. And of course our bookmarks are totally messed up, which is fine. Realistically, I would have liked to have had a nice script that would have organized it all, or at least separated it, done it in a nice orderly fashion, but the time it's going to take me to write a script, just not worth it. So we have 50 frames now. And we're going to export that again as an animation because we want to make sure that this is what it is doing in Unreal. So I'm going to grab the skeleton output folder and we're going to export selection on that one. And we're going to put it into we got a new location for it. I gotta remember where it is. Oh, is it source? No. There we go. Should really store that in here. There. Is this it? This isn't it. And Alright, smoothing groups, animation, bake every single frame up to frame 50. Export. Now we get to jump over to Unreal. Oh, we're not there yet. Not that Unreal. We'll get to that later. That's the other thing we're going to do today. Alright, I'm going to delete this one. We're going to re-import. This is the old one with the facial poses. That's gone on a too big of a timeline. So we're going to say right-click and re-import with new file because our location has changed. Oh, well, it doesn't change that much. It seems to be in the right spot here already. So re-import that. Let's just check that that actually makes sense. 26, 27. Yeah, I think that does make sense. It takes forever though to get it through one frame to the next. That is just playing really slow. I guess because I exported at 5 frames a second. Interesting that it inherited that timeline speed. Or it was 8 frames a second or something. Frames a second. I don't know, it doesn't usually, I don't remember it ever doing that before. Maybe that's a new thing. It's recognizing the frames per second speed. Pretty cool. Okay, so we got that and we're gonna save that and we'll go through the process of how we convert a timeline that has lots of poses into a pose list that we can use for accessing facial capturing. So right click on the animation thing, we go create pose asset, and we check the facial poses. And this is where I gotta make that list, but I'm considering just doing a test first. Let's just put a couple poses in there for now. Somehow. Where's my Maya? Back here. So there's a bookmark manager, which was where I was looking at. Oh, look at all these options here. I didn't even notice this. Next bookmark, unframe, update bookmark selection. Anyway, if you go to the bookmark manager, it's pretty cool because you can actually jump between your bookmarks like this, which was really handy before I, you know, screwed it all up. But now all we need is the names. And these are the names I've got from the Apple AR toolkit thing. Trashart says, sent you a Python script on Slack, private message. Should do the trick. Whoa. Leave it to John to figure this out on the fly. Oh man, that's awesome. I'm impressed. Look at this great little script here. Plugin, time slider, bookmarks, import. Let's try it out. This is going to be so cool if this actually works. Just solves these problems on the go. Alright, so this is a script. We've got import Commands, bookmarks, get all bookmarks. 4B and bookmarks. Name, commands, get attribute plus B plus name. Oh, get attribute. There it is. Let's try it out. Boom! That's awesome! I'm so impressed. Alright. Okay, now let's just check it here. Is the tongue? Yeah, the tongue's the last one. Oh, that's so good. Neutral is not supposed to be in that order. That's alright, I can solve that in a sec. So I just do a quick little Control C. It's funny, I sat there for like a good 30 minutes trying to get that figured out. Although I must admit, when I was saying it out loud, I'm like, oh shoot, I probably need to get this object. Paste! It's awesome. Get attribute was all I was looking for. Very good. Alright, let's see if this works. We got all our targets here, different names. Hit accept. There they all are. It's beautiful. So if we see if they're accurate though. Jaw open. Oh no, they're not accurate. Shoot. This is gonna be the problem. Which one is this? This is jaw right. So is this one jaw open? Oh, I'm one off. Maybe I do have to put neutral in there. Alright, we'll do it again. Delete that. Right click. Create. Close assets. Control V. Neutral on the top. They must have been on the same frame or something. Alright. Boom. Sarah, I love that feeling of solving technical issues. It's highly addictive. It can be frustrating waiting for those moments. I totally agree. It's just like every game. You're like, you grind and you grind, and then you're like, yeah, we did it. Of course, John was the one that really solved this one. Look at that. Beautiful. Jaw open is in the right place. Cheeks puff. Uh-oh, he gets lost again. He was doing good right up until that point. I think jaw open is going to be a really nice one though. I think that's the most important one. You can go and troubleshoot that one later. Alright, let's give it a try. Let's see what happens. We'll save that. Luckily we've already got a lot of the other stuff set up for ourselves. We might be able to test this pretty quickly. Seems like there are multiple eye blink left in the list output in Maya. Not sure. Says John. Let's go back. What was it? Eye blink left? Eye blink. Oh yeah, eye blink right. No, that's the. Where was that jaw open? Jaw open, up left. This also looks like the syntax is wrong. Oh, in Maya. Multiple eye blink lefts in the Maya output. Okay, so this may not be important. Just wonder if they get removed as needed to be unique in... Oh yeah, you're right. There was two of them. Okay, so it was in the right order, I just... This one's also supposed to be lowercase m. It's very important that the syntax is correct because I'm getting this all from the AR, the Apple AR toolkit thing, which is listening for very specific pose names. But anyway, it doesn't seem to be two of them anymore, so it must have eradicated it somehow. Again, the mouth open is at least lined up properly, so we can definitely test that out. The rest of it I can just sit and tweak offline, whatever we gotta do. So we do have the blueprint, animation blueprint set up now to handle the live link. I haven't actually done this in a while, so hopefully everything still works. I've got an iPad here that has hopefully the app that we need here. Oh, there it is, live link. And we have had some tests working before. And we're gonna try and get something. Okay, we gotta do live link. Oh, we got a compile error. We have all kinds of, oh, probably because we don't have the iPad on there yet. I have live link turned on, the plugin set up so that it's already in there. Looks like this is already hooked up. Excellent. Oh yeah, look, it's already trying to be my face. It's good. I think we did get the head stuff working here. So we got the head movement and we got some mouth movement. So that means, I don't know if no, wait a minute, hold on a sec. I haven't done anything yet. This is from what we did before. I'm getting too excited. What were we doing? We had the mouth open working before. Pose mouth open asset. That's coming from that pose group. So now we're going to use this one, the new one that we just created. Compile that. All right. Let's see here. Now, we got some movement, but I don't see anything. Not picking up very much yet. Nope. So we have more progress to make yet. I still have to remember how all this works. I forgot how I did half of this stuff. We had like, so we have the pose list. I think we need to somehow dictate more poses, but the test one that we were talking about before is just basically one that has jaw open. So we do have that one target that it was able to listen to. And then this one has all of them, and jaw open is, oh, look, it's a capital J. There you go. So, spelling errors is critical. I guess it's worth going back and making this correction. Luckily, we've got our handy dandy list right here. Oh, I wonder if you can just rename it. Oh, yeah, you can just rename it. That was silly. Let's just do this. Oh, wait, maybe you can't rename it. This use has already been used. Is it because it's being used from here? How crazy is that? Okay, let's try this again. Just get to that window. Oh, maybe I gotta reopen it. Alright. Try renaming it again. This name is used by another pose within the same asset. Alright, it's gotta be in here already. Jaw open, jaw open, jaw open. I don't see it. It's possible that there is a need to restart. Try that. Is this lost in the cache somewhere? So we'll give it another try. I may just delete it and start over with that asset because that didn't take very long to do. And then we'll see if we can get that successfully running. And if we can, then maybe we will call it there and I'll have some time to troubleshoot and make sure everything works properly. And then maybe next week we'll think of a new plan and where we want to progress from there. Okay, that's still not working, so we are going to delete that. Which is going to cause issues. Because it was being referenced in that animation blueprint, but that's alright. Create another one. Maya. Where are you? We'll make some corrections here. $M. Lowercase j. One eye blink left. Okay, that worked out okay. We jump over to the animation blueprint. We're going to grab our facial pose asset. Make sure we choose the. Oh, it looks like it's already hooked up, which is handy. We gotta make sure our live is working. Oh, it just kicked right in there. I still don't know. There's a tiny little bit of movement happening. I don't know what that means. There's definitely something happening. It just seems like it's a minute little bit of detail there. Yeah, we'll definitely have to sit down and do some more troubleshooting. See if I can take a look at how MetaHuman works and see what kind of other alternatives we can do to make that set up properly. Because MetaHuman definitely had a whole different setup working than this. And so there's probably lots of cool things that we can do to check it out. Awesome though. I think that was pretty successful. Yeah, it's not perfect, but we're definitely getting a little bit of information coming in there. So some sort of target is happening. And obviously a vast majority of the targets probably might even be happening. They're all just really, really muted. So we might have to somehow like add a multiplier that makes it much more exaggerated. It's a bit weird that the first one worked and this one didn't work. It's almost like they're all additively muting each other or something. I don't know. It's weird. Anyways, so we'll leave it there. That was pretty cool. And thanks, John, for that awesome script. I will figure out what I'm gonna do with that later. I've still got it in your chat, so that's good. I may put it in the this Maya scripts section for anyone who needs a reference for it later. It is interesting to think about how you can use bookmarks properly. If I was doing this again, might be worth doing. Especially since if you go to the bookmark manager and you just use this to jump between pose to pose, might be kind of cool. Although if they are on every single frame, I don't know. Anyway, the other thing we have to do is probably tweak some of these poses once we get it working. So it's not like this is anywhere close to being finished yet. We still have a lot of work to do. But that's okay. Now, let's move over to the fun stuff. Where we have our Western Town asset that was free from the Unreal Marketplace in November. I don't know what its cost nowadays, but I managed to grab it when it was free. And so, yeah, cowboy style. So we're gonna try and do a new backdrop for this scenery back here, and I want to kind of try to pick one that fits well, so I don't have this blinding light in my face, and also Yeah, yeah, free stuff. And also try to find one that sort of fits better for acoustics where it doesn't sound like you're outside, because my acoustics sound like I'm inside. Hence why this one actually works pretty good, because it kind of sounds like I'm indoors. They do have interiors inside of this asset, so you can go inside of these buildings and see inside of them, but I really want to see that outdoor area, so wherever it is, I kind of feel like it's got to be semi-outdoors in some kind of spot here, and add some props or something. And all these assets are also modular, so you can assemble your own building if you want to. All I keep picking right now is a non-modular asset, so maybe I'm wrong about that, but I saw in the video that they were supposed to make it so that they were modular. Yeah, these are definitely like solid pure assets, so maybe that's not how this works. Or maybe there is a section here that is in addition that is modular. I don't know, there's a lot of assets in here. It's good though, I can add some barrels and rocks and stuff. Oh yeah, and there's like caves. Oh, are these all blueprints? Let me just double check. Oh, they're all blueprints. Never mind. I thought they were raw assets. So maybe they are modular. Yeah, they are. They're just assembled in a blueprint. Yes. Trash art was on that one. So, which is a great way to assemble assets, I think, as well. But then when we were looking at last week, we were looking at the what was it called? I don't even know what it was called. Oh, the medieval town level, and they were doing it in a slightly different workflow where they were assembling the houses in a level and then packing the levels together. I don't think there's any levels in this one. Yeah, there's just the one persistent level. So it just goes to show there's always multiple ways to do the same thing. What was that thing over here? And you know, it gets the job done one way or another. There's pros and cons either way, but these ones are done where they're all assembled in one big blueprint, so that when you move it, it moves everything together, which is probably pretty good. Here's the news section. I don't know if that's the best place to have my backdrop. It's like, what are you trying to say? Oh, and there's a church. Interesting. Trasho says, surely the backdrop has to be a sheriff, Simon. Need to get a badge. Oh yeah, there's the sheriff's place. This side of the street is pretty dark. I may have to change the lighting a bit. Look at that, he's even got a desk and a chair. But I'd have to be looking this way, realistically. That's the problem with my backdrops, is everything has to be like the opposite way. Man, there's just so many angles and options. And when you change the lighting, it changes everything. It would be nice to get that backdrop in there. Audrey, it's because they're all vampires. That's why there's no one this dark. Oh god, this sounds really scary. It's like, oh yeah. That makes a great game though, doesn't it? When you get like darkness and then the vampires all come out. Can't remember what that game is called. Yeah, we got a backstory going already. They're all like cowboy vampire. Or vampires, okay, yeah, sure. Cowboy vampires. That just sounds normal. I was thinking we were talking about zombies for a minute there. Wow, look how much landscape there is. It just keeps going and going and going. Pretty impressive, really. Well, what I could do is just make my own building up on the hill here. We look down on the town or something. Or you could just use this building. I think is like a Fox Express. Must be the mail. Roger says the title would be Yeehaw in the Night. Yeah, that'd be great. That's awesome. Oh well, I'm kind of liking this angle here because I can look kind of down and see a nice backdrop, see some nice landscape. Might seem a little strange that I'm just sitting there, but yeah, maybe. So I could add some more props up here and stuff, do that kind of thing. The camera always ends up being really zoomed in. Might try that for an angle, see what we think. So we'll start off the normal way. We'll just make a cinematic folder. Where we're gonna add a let's see here, a animation level sequence, and we'll call it Western backdrop. All right, we'll make a camera in here, and that's going to create our camera cuts track as well. And then what I like about that, creating that camera, is it already gave me a really nice tight lens that I need to work with here. So otherwise the aspect ratio looks really weird. Then you can just change it. Focal length. Still trying to have trouble trying to figure out this angle here. I kind of like the composition here, but then at the same time I'm like, what am I looking at? It's just a bunch of weird stuff. Maybe I should come up with a couple angles. So we'll do this one. And then we'll make another camera. I'll go find another angle. This, I have something to compare with. Maybe something like this. Sarah says, hey Simon, I have some animals with animations I am using in my game as placeholders. Their animations are in place. What do I need to do to give them a path to fly or hop along? So you're going to use them for game. They're going to move around in a game environment, right? Well, I mean, in theory, you've got two options. You could make them with root motion, where they move in their animation, and that their animation drives how they travel in space. But you can also do it so that they just have a fixed speed that gets pushed forward via the character movement component. So if, like, I definitely think you get nicer quality with root motion animations, but it comes at a cost and a complexity in animation, because now you have to make your animations where your root does travel with your character, and it uses that offset from the origin to determine how far the character moves in the world. So you have to make sure that when you animate them, they're doing that proper movement. And then you also have to flip a switch on your animation to make sure that the root motion is enabled, so it registers it. But so it's a bit more tricky. But the nice thing is, especially for characters that have varied speeds, for example, if you had like a kangaroo hopping, and they would be like hop, and then hop, and then hop, you could allow for that variedness so that if they ever stop for whatever reason, they're going to stop in the right speed and pace. Otherwise what happens is their collision object kind of is traveling at a consistent speed, and they're like going in front of it and behind it. It's a slightly difficult thing to do when you have a character that moves at a varied speed. But either one is pretty doable. They're not too unusual. I think your most complicated part that you have to consider is how you're going to do your like AI system for it. And then when you get into, oh, here we go. Then when you get into AI using root motion, I know that tends to be pretty tricky. So you might have more of a technical hurdle on that front. So maybe it's better just to use it as, just have them travel at a certain speed, just for the sake of getting it in and working, and worry about like, the quality of them traveling as something that happens later. The other thing with root motion is that it's really hard to use inside of sequencer, like with our cinematics here. If I had a root motion animation I would try to use, it's actually pretty tricky to work with, because they're moving forward, and then all of a sudden they start back at the back, so they keep going forward and back, forward and back. So every time you have them travel, and then you got to get them to translate X amount of distance so that they carry on seamlessly. You want to lay down a camera track for them? Oh, like a predefined path? Then yeah, that's for sure. Then you just do that in sequencer. I would suggest, where you just basically have an animation playing, like a sequencer playing. You just get rid of your camera cuts, and then it will just remain in the game camera, and then your sequence can just play through, and the characters will move around in the world and stuff. It won't affect the player. That would definitely be the easiest solution. Unfortunately, the repetition is your worst problem. Like, your characters will eventually look like they keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Is there oh, I thought that was another noose. Like, what the heck? Why are there like nooses everywhere? I'm thinking, what if I go and do an angle kind of like this? Actually, this other angle looks better. I'm gonna make it so that it's got a nice busy background. And then like we could maybe just get rid of this hole just by going into the blueprint and removing. Oh no, they're all one piece. Trash art says needs the DeLorean to activate the flux capacitor straight into the western background behind you. 1.21 gigawatts. Okay, wow. I mean, I know where you're getting that from, but it's I don't know. I haven't watched Back to the Future enough to understand the 1.21 gigawatts. Is that really the exact number that they use? Man, oh man. It is right though. That is the scene where you could have the fire strips just blazing in the background. That'd be a pretty fun backdrop to do. I don't know if there's a free asset for the DeLorean. Alright, I'm gonna do this angle right here. That looks pretty good. Especially when you zoom it in. Wait a minute, that doesn't really make sense. There's no context. Alright, we'll keep that one there. Audrey, probably. The DeLorean in a Western setting is somewhat iconic now in pop culture. Yeah, there might very well be a free DeLorean somewhere that I can just grab. We'll just have I mean, literally, you could just have the tire tracks, fire burning, and then everybody would be like, what? It'd be hilarious. I'm really trying to figure out how to get it so that I can see past this post. Because I really don't know how to do it otherwise. Like, I can get rid of it, but I'll get rid of the floor as well, so that's not good. Darn. Well, it's possible we won't see the floor. I don't know. I gotta stop messing with it. Alright, let's try some stuff. So we have the backdrop. Oh, I was gonna change the lighting. That's where I was gonna head with this. See what kind of options we have for lighting. Because I'm pretty sure they have a light system that is dynamic. There's no baking going on in this scene. Oh, there it was. Lighting, skylight, sun. Oh, they're not using anything too fancy with the lighting. It's just the regular directional light with a skylight and exponential height fog. Do you think we should maybe try to put the real lighting in? The better lighting? I had so much luck with it though. I feel like I'm going to destroy everything, but we should try it since I got lots of time right now to kill. And oh shoot, I'm moving the camera again. I gotta make sure that once I figure out my spot, I turn off this option so that I no longer mess with that camera anymore. Okay, well, just for the sake of experimenting before I move too far away here, let's try changing the lighting a bit. And change the backdrop. Should probably just grab that light and just rotate it using the variables in there. So what do we got? This one. Oh, light comes up from underneath. That is not at all working very well here. There we go. I guess you have to like turn off your shadows, or no, I don't know how you do it. You have to like disable the light when it goes underneath. If you want a nighttime scene. Okay, let's try this and get rid of the sun. And we're gonna bring in the fancy sun. Somehow. Or do I gotta enable this? I forget how this works now. Let's see here. Wow, I totally forget how to do the fancy light. Is it a plugin, or is it a default feature that is just not here yet? I'm in 4.26. Let's see here. Sun Sky Actor. 4.26. Oh, is it really the sun's position calculator? Didn't realize that's what it was called. All right. Like, hope this loads. Okay, so now we've restarted the new plugin. We should be able to type in sun, get the sun sky, bring that in. That makes the light extremely bright, which I don't know if I'm going to do that. Here are all the options. This is something I wasn't figuring out on the fly last, well, a couple streams ago. I was like, how do I change the brightness of the light? It's like, oh, it's in the components, because this is a multi-component object here. So then you get your directional light and your skylight, which I'm starting to wonder if we're just going to get the same same results as before. I don't know. We'll find out. Let's go down to something much smaller light amount. I think 12 is supposed to be like the sunlight exposure for default Unreal. But it was set to extremely high so that you could change it to just a manual exposure, or at least an exposure level that's more photoreal. This is kind of like a gamey exposure level. And so I guess in theory, the best way to handle that would be to, just for the sake of argument, either through the, you could do a post-process volume. I don't think there is a post-process volume right now, so we'll make one, see what happens. And then with a post-process volume, you can actually turn off, turn a checkbox that would say infinite extent, which means it'll affect everything outside of the box as well. And in here we can change the, we can override the exposure. Here it is, exposure. So let's change this to manual. And now we are back to a level where we can see what's going on again. I think the way that they did it in, what was the, it's a project I was looking at that was testing it. They were doing like, they were still doing the exposure level, but they were just offsetting it by like a number here that was allowing you to make it work still. What would it be? Like 500 or something? Keep going too much. Wow, this is a really fine number here. I've got to get to like just the right. It's somewhere between 125. Oh man. I don't know. Oh, wait. This worked. Minus 15. I was way off on the wrong track there. Oh, minus 12. Oh, dude, that's awesome. That is the same number ratio they were talking about for the exposure in another way. Anyways, what does that look like? How does that compare to like manual? That sure does look different, doesn't it? I guess it just looks a little overexposed is what it is. When I was reading some documentation though, they were talking about, you know, you kind of use manual at your own risk because now you have to like keep in consideration of all these other factors and variables that would be included when you're doing camera work. And one of them I remember with that other week was that our VFX was looking black. So that wasn't a very good option potentially. So we're gonna keep it back on whatever the default is, which is like auto exposure, and then we'll just do minus 12. And that could potentially be what we choose, although I'm not really totally happy with the results. So, and I'm a little bit worried about all the other problems. So we'll put it back to normal, and we'll go back to the shoot, where is it here? Sun sky. Take the intensity back down to 12, where this is kind of like game mode. So we should be getting like, you know, maybe the lights weren't going to work or something if we did it the other way, because we'd have to crank all the lights up to maximum exposure. That's probably why it was looking a little weird actually. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with making sure we don't do anything too crazy here. And then the interesting thing, I guess, with this is we have a nice sky atmosphere thing going on. We should be able to get rid of skylights and the height fog. Oh, the height fog made it look way worse. I mean, wasn't doing a nice job of making it look nice before. Now we just have this sort of like very clear day. We have a sky atmosphere. Multi-scattering. Did we get those dynamic clouds in here? Or is that still from the... It would be cool to check out if we can get those dynamic clouds working if they're not. Oh, I just remembered there was another thing that was happening that was kind of cool with the lights. Was there was this like cloudy pass going on, which I may have to, I may have lost as well. Oh, Mayuz. Oh my goodness, Mayuziko Zoo. Sorry for your name. I can't remember what it is. I can't pronounce it, I should say. Am I a programmer? No, I'm not a programmer, but I am a programmer in the sense that I do a lot of scripting. I definitely think the difference between what I do and what a programmer does is like two different worlds. So where I stand is kind of like in between artists and programming, and I think that's, you know, it's qualified as a technical artist, but I think it's really quite an interesting field right now to sort of pursue kind of like to not go too far in the art field and sort of bring in more of that technical side of it. I think that's kind of the area that we're really trying to encourage at our school, and I think it has a huge benefit. So a lot of what I do on these streams is like heavily technical, but it's just trying to like explore that territory that's usually scares people away. But meanwhile, there's a lot of fun things in there. Andrea says, I'm also a fox enthusiast. Yes. We should have a fox in our scene. Have like a whole family of foxes. I've already got them rigged up and ready to go, so we can do the foxes. I'm actually experimenting right now in terms of whether I want to go with this skylight or not. It isn't doing too bad of a job, but the problem is I've got to compete with somebody who's spent a lot of time carefully, meticulously making the atmosphere look really nice. So that exponential height fog is actually a really nice atmosphere effect. I don't know if I want to lose that after all. And I almost feel like, and if we take the light and we rotate it a bit, we should be able to get a more interesting source here. Oh, sorry, rotate it a little bit. It's interesting to see the new exposure we have here because we've got, you can definitely see the foreground a lot better. And we can just adjust the exposure potentially, or just adjust this, I guess. Oh, I can really reduce this and it doesn't really make much of a difference. I almost wonder if I should, because if it's that foggy, the light wouldn't necessarily be as strong onto the ground. That is a really reduced number there. I'm surprised that that worked so. Really trying to figure out, like, I kind of want an angle where it looks like a sunset, but then at the same time I kind of want to have some sort of directional lighting that actually looks like lighting, so I'm on the fence here with what I want to do here. Let's take a look at what the other angle looks like as well. So we'll jump back into our cinematic, and we'll jump into our other camera angle, which is over here on the hill. And we'll see what the lighting differences look here. The nice thing about this new lighting system is that it really does change the atmospheric color based on the angle without me having to like constantly reset and refresh the environment light. So I think the exposure is definitely too high. So let me go to the post-process volume here and change this to be -1. I feel like I keep changing it, and then whenever I let go of it, it like changes to a different thing. Alright. Like I can't get it to stay on the one I want it to stay on. 93? It just changes every time. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Let's hold on a sec here. Directional light. Oh, I am doing it wrong. I got the wrong source here. Let's see if I change this. Doesn't listen to me either. Source angle. I don't know. I can't change the light direction. That's the real problem. Every time I rotate it, it just goes back to its original position, which means that there must be something else overriding the angle. And I was originally changing the scene, which was changing the whole entire object itself, and that isn't working either. So I have a major issue here already, just from a technical aspect, that screwing me up. Somewhere in here we've probably got like the coordinates for the angle that it's supposed to be on, but fortunately I'm back to not knowing where exactly is going on. Seems to happen a lot. Okay, well, I think what I'm going to do under those circumstances, the fact that I can't actually change my angle of the sun, I may just go back to the original lighting. Or I just work with what I got, I guess. How are we doing for time? We're doing fine. Just wonder if, like, does this object have any influence at all in the direction of the lighting at all? Doesn't seem like it. I hate not knowing what the process is, though. It's like, why can't I just change the direction of light and work with it? Real-time capture. Source angle sure does seem appropriate, but every time I change it doesn't even do anything. Oh, I don't even know what that means. I'm always messing with this light. I feel like I've done this a couple times now. I'm sitting here trying to figure out how this light system works. I don't even know where the sun is coming from. Alright, I've lost my camera angle as well. Let's put this back and then we'll just go with what we've got right now. We'll sort of lay out something. Such a boring lighting angle right now, though. This is the part where I don't have a light. So luckily when you can reload a map and you don't actually have your cinematic in your level, it just dynamically loads into your level anyway. So even though I've reloaded the level without saving it, all the stuff that I've done with my cameras and stuff is saved to an external asset. So it doesn't even matter that it wasn't saved in the map. What I'm going to do is add the old light. We're going to go back to our old system. I should just be able to bring in a directional light here and assign it to the skylight so that, or is it the skylight? As a lighting actor? That's way on the top here. Source type, real-time capture. Yeah, I'm struggling. Audrey says, Photoshop should learn from that. You, what? From learn from that? For what part? The Oh, from saving externally. Learn. I get it now. Yeah, it's actually pretty useful, and it's definitely something with a game engine that is handy, where you have like linked assets that are all dynamic, and when you go back to working in Maya or something, you'll realize that, oh geez, like that would be so handy if things were dynamically linked instead of working with them all stuck in the same level at the same time. Can't English today. Or I can't Unreal today very well. I'm trying to do some basic things, and I'm like, why can't I get anything to make sense to me right now? I'm trying to assign the light to the actual atmosphere, but I'm blind as to why it's not there. So I'm just gonna keep moving on before I get too boring here. But we do have a directional light that works, and I can change its angle, but unfortunately I want it to be associated to the actual, oh, sky sphere, here it is. I had the wrong asset. Directional light actor, there we go. And then I have a special sky material for it. Interesting. Skylights. Real-time capture. I don't know, I feel like I'm ruining this file here. Reduce our intensity to something less. Down to a 1. Go back to our cinematic. Going for a more lower angle here. Oh my goodness. What is the angle that you need here? All right. All right, I'm gonna go back to the original file because it's like I like it, but I haven't made it worse. Like, I mean, I haven't made it better, so I'm definitely like not feeling very comfortable with where the file is right now. And I think it'd be better if I just rebuilt it and started again. I've already got my angles picked up. Which is kind of a lame way to end this, but I'm like, it's better than me trying to tweak this forever. That way I can actually get a render off and keep moving. So the asset itself is just inside my library. I just have to like copy it over again. Eastern Town. Let's be library stream temp. Eastern Town 2. Because obviously I did something wrong with the whole sky thing. I don't know what it was that was really the problem. Oh, I couldn't get the angle changed. That was the main issue. So I gotta sit down and figure out how to change angles of the sun when using the sky sun, because obviously you should be able to change it. I just sat there for a long time trying to figure it out, and I couldn't figure out what the actual change was. Okay, back to default. I could technically migrate those cinematic files over again to this project, but it just isn't worth it. It doesn't take that long to make again. And most of the time you spent just looking for an angle. So I'm gonna make a new folder again called cinematic. And we're gonna make a level sequence again and put in sequence backdrop, and then we're going to create a new camera, and we're going to jump over to the camera that we have over here. Just because that was where we were before. We'll make another one where we're going to go over here. Here's a different kind of angle. Maybe that's a better one. Okay. Jump back. I'm going to grab this sun, and this time we're going to try changing it from this angle here. We'll see if we can get anything. Okay, there we go. Now, in order for me to do the render here, there is definitely some parts that have to be matched appropriately. But I'm not too worried about it. We could think of maybe something we could do in the backdrop. Top of that, could try doing that as well, but at the moment I'm thinking let's just set up the render and have something established. So I'm going to render it this time using the new cinematic rendering pipeline to see if we can get any sort of better results. It means I have to enable the plugin for it, which is the scene. No, what's it called? Cinematic. No, movie render queue. There it is. Movie render queue. And we're going to do the passes as well. So this is the new feature that came out in 4.26. I think it came out 4.26. That allows you to kind of do more professional renders for still renders. And it also makes rendering just a little bit easier as well, which is handy. So if I set up a new render, it'll find the sequence we did. And then when you add it, you just click on, and also the map that you're going to use, which is this one. I'm going to click on the unsaved configurations, and we can decide whether we want to output to PNG, turn off JPEG, and some of the output options like anti-aliasing. Although I don't know if I need to make this. I'm going to make it 16 because it doesn't seem to make sense that I'd have to be full on. There's not actually that much motion happening here. In fact, I don't even think I need to do a full on resolution because we haven't even got anything exciting. Output, and then let's do some of those other anti-denoiser things that we saw we were doing before so that we can get all that information in there. Console variables, or was it game overrides? I forget. I think it's console variables. And those can be all found in the library under sequence and rendering, I think. Movie render queue. Talked about this last week, but it's kind of good to talk about again. And we can just try putting these in here, see what kind of stuff we get. Just for the sake of experimenting. And then we need to think of anything fun we can do with this level on top of that, but I may not be able to fit that in today. We can definitely start coming up with ideas. And in theory, because I'm using, let's see here, what actor is it going to use? That's a really interesting question. I have two cameras on the same track inside of my sequencer. So which one does it actually listen to? Would probably be the first one I made. Which is this one. So I need to add the other actor into my sequence here. I'll just get rid of that and put camera number 2. So camera number 2 ends up being the camera that fills in the camera cuts shot. So it ignores what happens on camera number 1. So that when I activate this from here, it should just see the camera number 2. And then we should be able to see what the results look like. Oh, the lighting just changed. You know what? The lighting changed. I wonder if it has something to do with... No, it's still the same there. The daytime system? Maybe it's automated. There's a... Oh shoot, that's probably why the sun wasn't working. Oh no, because I deleted it and tried a different one. If they have an automatic system for day-night system so that it keeps changing dynamically, then that would make sense. But I don't know why that would be happening here, because I don't... It's not like a blueprint or anything, it's just a sun direction. We scrub the timeline. It's not like the daylight changes here. If we play the game, the lighting changes. Okay, so we do have some kind of connection that's happening. Maybe in the level blueprint. Again, play execute commands. Oh my, look at all these executed commands here. Changing the streaming map, temporal AAA, phone mapper. Oh man. Okay, so we're gonna disconnect that. That probably, it's sharpening the anti-aliasing calculations, but not exactly sure if it has any effect over our lighting or not. I don't think so. It might actually be kind of handy, but I would have to put that all into my rendering, I think. Alright, so the other thing I need to do to fix that lighting is look for something that may actually be automatically changing the lights. But if it's not in the level blueprint, I'm not entirely sure where else to look. Let's see if the sky sphere. What's going on in here? Gameplay, create dynamic material instance, sky sphere mesh. Not very much going on here. Update sun direction. Okay, might be it. Sun color, sun direction. Alright, here we go. So I was looking at the construction script for the create dynamic material instance sky sphere mesh, where it is building it. And then on the event graph, meaning when they begin play, creates a dynamic material instance. I don't really know what that does. Creates a material from the sky sphere mesh. And is that... Who is calling the update sun direction? Alright, well, let's see if I'm even on the wrong track here. If I disconnect the connection here. Oops, not that one. This one. We try playing the level. Let's see if that has any effect. No. So I might just be barking up the wrong tree. This is a tricky little level. It's got all kinds of interesting problems, like updating skies and everything. Access none when trying to run the missing sky material. It's because I just did this, I guess. Needed to have that happen. I also disconnected it from the construction script. Yeah, I'm not sure. Ooh, environmental controller. What's that? This looks interesting. Here we go. Ent Tech. Controller on. Calculate time. Convert game time to hours, days, and minutes. This is totally going to be it. Let me just undo what I just did there. I was just trying to troubleshoot some other stuff. EP Sky Sphere. Alright, convert game time to days, hours, minutes. It's kind of handy. Update time of day system. Time of day. Print game time. Oh, that's kind of cool. Why do we not get to see that? Whoa. In play. Delay. Half a second. Get all actors. What are we getting? Skylights. EP sky. Directional light. Exponential height fog. We're setting all the variables. Ah, interesting. It might have been getting to get all the classes of directional light and gets the first instance. So when I replaced the light, even if I replaced this sunlight with my own sunlight, which was from that custom asset, the sun sky system, it was probably still finding it and driving it. That's why even the version that I made was still getting like overwritten, so I couldn't get the lighting to change. I mean, that could be the reason. Never actually tried playing it. Update time of day system, actor tick enabled. These things are starting to make a little more sense. It was getting really frustrating there where I was like, everything I did wasn't working. Update time of day. Set play rate. Alright, so just this connection here alone probably is going to fix the issue. Let's just disconnect that, see what happens here. Nope, apparently not. Oh, it gets run again from begin play, so maybe I have to disconnect that and this. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Time of day system is pretty cool. Not gonna lie. I mean, I don't really like, oh yeah, let's get rid of this because it's bad. It's like, no, this is super awesome. But it does directly drive the sun light source and its rotation, so that it will change over time, which is pretty neat. Oh, we got moving dust and everything. Rain. Interior change. Oh, right. Changing the parameter values. I almost feel like instead of overriding it, I should just change the time of day for it. Sarah says, is that the one I sent you or built into the scene? This is totally built into the scene. I didn't even expect it to be there. I was, you know, messing around with the lighting, trying to do my own thing, and then I like, it's like, how come everything I'm doing is getting overridden? I also have a calendar one with the weather, Yeah, so this one has weather. Might be a similar approach. I mean, it usually is how it works. People don't usually like reinvent the wheel if they don't have to, but maybe this person did, I don't know. What is interesting is that I could, in theory, just override the time somehow. Currently it's saying game time is in seconds, and then it makes it into an object, and then we split it up to how the seconds work for days, hours, minutes. It's kind of neat. It's actually recalculating it all. Sarah says, I can't get the rain particles to work. Not that I've tried too hard, been too busy. Yeah, I wasn't super excited about the rain option in this one either. It kind of looked like an artifact rather than actual rain falling. Like it almost looks like there's like compression issues, just because they're like vertical streaks that have slight refraction on them. I wasn't really super expecting that to be. I mean, I just don't think that's something that maybe you want to steal, but. Here, it's actually clamping at fixed numbers. I don't know what's happening here. That's interesting. Just trying to output, like, it looks like a regular time of day scene here. When I play this, do I get that? I don't get any printouts. But meanwhile, it says print a screen, print a log. Duration for 0.1 seconds. I'm just not sure why I don't get to see that printout. It's all coming from something that says on event tick. Oh wait, here it is. Game controller on. Use active game time on. Oh geez, I could just turn that off. There we go. Oh, it is off. Use active game time off. Controller game on. So both those have to be on for this to actually print. Try it. No, it doesn't still print. Maybe these are getting changed somewhere else. Wait, I got an idea. Maybe it's inside of the if I select the object itself, are these exposed variables? Controller on check. Is dust wind check. Is raining. Oh, here we can try it out. We're not raining. Time scale. Time of day system update delay. Oh, there we go. You can change the hours and minutes so you can get a nice sunset sort of look. Does that change in real time here? Oh, I must have disconnected something because I'm not getting anything anymore. Oh yeah, so let me put this all back again. Yeah, it's funny how I've gone from like, how do I fix it to how do I turn it back on again? There we go. Now we got nighttime raining and we got the time of day going on. I actually can't move around on the scene, so for some reason I must be like overriding this with a cinematic or something. Don't know why. Let me go to the level blueprint, see what else I've destroyed here. Turn this back on again. That shouldn't have mattered though. What else would it be? Why can't I move around in my scene? Oh, I think maybe my character is just stuck in the world. Sequencer for a second. Get myself on a street. There we go. Oh yeah, they got this cool like walking feature too. I forgot about this part. Anyway, if you can see it, you can see the rain coming down. And like it kind of looks like rain, but it also kind of looks like there's just some sort of weird artifacts going on. That is technically at 7:30 at night. Let's do 9. Let's do like 8 in the morning. Wow. It's 8 in the morning. It's that dark. Then maybe it's just because it's raining. Alright, let's turn off raining. What's wrong with that? Why can't that work? 10. Everything is dark. Oh, controller on, controller off. That's what controller means. So now I'm flying around instead of... Oh no, never mind. I'm not flying around. I'm walking around. But is that what happened? Let me try 7 again. Five in the morning. I don't know if it's changing anything. I don't think it is. It's the same thing every time. And if we turn raining on, then what happens? Does it get dark? No, it just looks wet. It's kind of cool. I think they made all the textures support the rain, the water effect as well. You can see the water drip drops on everything. Which I'm assuming that's a material thing. There's no way that's like a... Which is pretty impressive that you'd have all your materials support that. Must be like part of the parent material that does all the work. Anyways, I've only got 4 minutes left. At least I did figure out how this works, and you can definitely enable and disable features. Never really figured out how the clock works, unfortunately, but it's possible that something's not working here. Let's crank time of day system updates delay. It's already at like 0.01. Time scale. Oh, okay. Let's do time scale, or maybe 10 time scale. Yeah, you're starting to see the sun move. We'll do 100 time scale. Whoa, 1,000 time scale? Sure. No, that has nothing to do with it. Clearly, I am not affecting this properly. Oh, here's your time of day. It's actually telling me that it's just starting at midnight. So that's why it's all dark. So when controller is on. Oh, I haven't really learned anything, and I'm running out of time. It's like I was trying to make it so that I could have a, you know, some sort of resolution at the end of all this. I got nothing. All I got is use active game time. I can disable that, compile it. Does that change anything? Oh, maybe it's 7 a.m. now. Let's try that. Oh, 2 a.m. Let's do 7 a.m. Ah, yeah, there we go. Okay, so there was a checkbox that I had turned on manually in the blueprint that was affecting everything. Now we're getting time of day running at 20 times speed, which is kind of cool because you're seeing all the clouds pass really fast. And that use active game time. Not sure how that's working, unless it's using like literally UTC time or something crazy like that. At least now I'm able to modify this again, so I'm actually able to see the time of day work. Audrey says that's really cool. There you go. Yes, it took me like half an hour to figure that out. We're getting some cool like morning sets stuff, so that's fun. So maybe what I can do is get a nice morning scene figured out somehow. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that because technically when I do this, it doesn't really make a difference. But anyway, I'll leave it there. And I'll have a new backdrop set up, ready to go. Oh yeah, that does work. That is like morning set here. For next week, I should have a new backdrop, get it all ready to go. We're going to be somewhere in the desert, and then maybe we can think about things that we can do to, I don't know, maybe have some fun with some idea if we can think of anything. And we'll also work on maybe the more of the facial expressions, so that'll be kind of cool too. But anyway, thanks for everybody for showing up today. Really appreciate the company, and I'll wrap it up there, and I'll see you guys again next week. All right, take care.